You know why most people fail at their biggest goals? Not lack of talent, not bad luck, not poor strategy. They quit when things get hard. And things always get hard. The Japanese have a word for the quality that separates people who achieve lasting success from people who start strong and fade. Gaman. It translates roughly to enduring the seemingly unbearable with patience and dignity. But it's not about suffering for suffering's sake. It's about understanding that the gap between wanting something and having it is filled with discomfort that must be crossed, not avoided. Post-war Japan rebuilt from complete devastation to become the world's second-largest economy in 30 years through Gaman. Not superior resources, not easier conditions, through collective willingness to endure difficulty without complaint while maintaining forward progress. And here's what modern psychology confirms. People who can sit with discomfort instead of escaping it achieve goals at 3 to 4x the rate of people who seek constant comfort. Gaman isn't about being tough, it's about being unstoppable, because you've eliminated the option of quitting when uncomfortable. Let me show you exactly how to develop this capacity and why it's the one skill that makes all other skills possible. If you're tired of quitting when things get hard and ready to become someone who endures until they succeed, subscribe and hit like. This is about building unshakable persistence, not motivational speeches. Comment, "I endure" as your commitment to Gaman. Now let's learn why endurance beats talent every single time. Chapter 1. The Architecture of Dignified Persistence. Most people misunderstand Gaman. They think it's about gritting your teeth and pushing through pain. It's not. Gaman is about maintaining composure and forward progress while experiencing discomfort, not despite it. The distinction is critical. Gritting through pain is unsustainable. You eventually burn out. Gaman is sustainable because you're not fighting the discomfort. You're accepting it as the price of the goal while continuing to execute systematically. The discomfort is acknowledged but irrelevant to whether you continue. The concept emerged from Japan's cultural history of dealing with natural disasters, earthquakes, tsunamis, typhoons. You can't stop a tsunami. You can't negotiate with an earthquake. You endure with dignity, then rebuild. This mindset became embedded in Japanese psychology. Some difficulties must be endured, not solved. And endurance with dignity is how you maintain your humanity through difficulty. Now pay attention to what happened after World War II. Japan was devastated. Cities were rubble. Economy was destroyed. Resources were scarce. The Japanese people faced two options: despair or endure. They chose endurance. Not dramatic heroism, quiet, persistent rebuilding. One day, one task, one small improvement at a time, for 30 years. By 1968, Japan had become the world's second-largest economy, not through sudden breakthroughs, through 30 decades of Gaman, accepting that rebuilding would be uncomfortable and long, then doing it anyway with dignity and systematic effort. Think about what this means practically. When you face a difficult goal, building a business, mastering a skill, transforming your health, there's a gap between current state and desired state. That gap is filled with discomfort. Learning curves are uncomfortable. Early failures are uncomfortable. The long middle where progress isn't visible is uncomfortable. Most people treat this discomfort as a problem to solve. How do I make this easier? How do I feel better while doing this? How do I stay motivated? These questions lead to quitting because the answer is usually you can't make it comfortable. Some goals require crossing uncomfortable territory.
Gaman reframes the entire situation. Discomfort isn't a problem, it's the terrain. You're not trying to eliminate it, you're accepting it as the landscape you're crossing to reach your destination. Once you stop fighting the discomfort and just acknowledge it as part of the journey, your energy shifts from "how do I avoid this" to "how do I keep moving through this?" Dr. Kelly McGonigal at Stanford studied discomfort tolerance and found that people who view discomfort as harmful, something to avoid, have lower pain thresholds and higher quit rates than people who view discomfort as neutral or even beneficial, something that indicates growth. Your interpretation of discomfort determines whether it stops you or just accompanies you. The Japanese formalized this through Gaman. Discomfort is neither good nor bad, it's just the price of the goal. Pay the price with dignity and keep moving. Chapter 2. The 3 Pillars of Endurance. Traditional Gaman practice isn't just mental, it's a complete system with 3 components that work together to make sustained endurance possible. Most people try to develop endurance through willpower alone. That fails because willpower depletes. The 3 pillars create structural endurance that doesn't rely on willpower. Pillar 1. Nintai, patient perseverance. Nintai is the recognition that some results take time, and time cannot be rushed. You can work harder, but you can't make a seed grow faster than its natural growth cycle. This acceptance of natural timing reduces the frustration that causes most people to quit. When you expect immediate results and don't get them, you interpret that as failure. When you practice nintai, you expect delayed results and interpret their absence as still in the growth phase. Same situation, completely different emotional response. Research from Dr. Angela Duckworth on grit shows that people who maintain effort despite lack of immediate reward, what she calls long-term stamina, achieve more than people with higher talent but lower perseverance. Nintai is the Japanese version of grit, with one addition. It explicitly includes dignity and composure during the perseverance period. You're not just persisting, you're persisting calmly, without complaint, maintaining your standards and behavior, even when results aren't visible yet. Pillar 2. Gaman Zuyoi, resilient strength. Gaman Zuyoi is strength that increases under pressure rather than breaking. It's the opposite of fragility. The more difficulty you face, the stronger your resolve becomes. This isn't natural, it's trained. Japanese students learn Gaman Zuyoi through structured hardship, cold winter training, extended study sessions, voluntary discomfort. The purpose isn't to suffer, it's to prove to yourself that you can function under uncomfortable conditions, which increases confidence that you won't break under pressure. Dr. Nassim Taleb calls this anti-fragility, systems that gain from disorder. Muscles become stronger through the stress of lifting. Bones become denser through impact. Psychological resilience grows through exposure to manageable stress. Gaman Zuyoi is trained anti-fragility. You deliberately expose yourself to discomfort in controlled doses, prove you can endure it, and your confidence in your endurance capacity grows. Then, when real difficulty appears, you know from experience, I can handle this.
Pillar 3. Shikata Ganai, acceptance of unchangeables. The third pillar is the most powerful and hardest for Westerners to understand. Shikata Ganai means it cannot be helped, or it is what it is. It's the acceptance that some things cannot be changed and must simply be endured. This isn't pessimism, it's strategic focus. When you stop wasting energy fighting unchangeable reality, that energy becomes available for action on what you can control. The Japanese say, don't complain about rain. It rains. Accept rain, bring umbrella, continue walking. Most people lose energy in 2 places, resisting unchangeable circumstances and complaining about inevitable discomfort. Both are energy drains that produce zero progress. Shikata Ganai eliminates both drains by training acceptance as default response. When these 3 pillars operate together,
patient perseverance, resilient strength, acceptance of unchangeables, you've created a system where endurance is structural, not emotional. You don't need to feel motivated. You just need to execute your system while accepting whatever discomfort accompanies execution. Chapter 3. Why comfort seeking destroys success. Now, you might be thinking, but shouldn't we try to make things easier? Isn't efficiency about reducing unnecessary difficulty? Yes, but here's what modern culture gets wrong. It treats all difficulty as unnecessary. Let's make this absolutely clear. There are two types of difficulty, necessary and unnecessary. Necessary difficulty is the inherent challenge of doing something meaningful. Learning a skill is inherently difficult. Building a business is inherently difficult. Transforming your body is inherently difficult. This difficulty is the work itself. Unnecessary difficulty is friction you create through poor systems, lack of preparation, or self-sabotage. Working without a plan is unnecessary difficulty. Starting a business without market research is unnecessary difficulty. Trying to lose weight without a structured eating system is unnecessary difficulty. You should eliminate unnecessary difficulty, but you must endure necessary difficulty. And modern culture has trained people to avoid all discomfort, necessary or not, which makes achieving anything meaningful impossible. Think about what's celebrated in modern self-help: hacks that make things easier, shortcuts that let you skip steps, life optimization that minimizes effort. The implicit message is discomfort is bad, comfort is good, so minimize discomfort at all costs. This is why most people fail, because meaningful goals have necessary difficulty that cannot be eliminated. You cannot hack your way to mastery. You cannot shortcut years of skill development. You cannot optimize away the discomfort of doing hard things consistently. The Japanese approach through Gaman is opposite. Accept that worthy goals require enduring discomfort. Develop your capacity to endure with dignity. Then pursue the goals knowing endurance is your competitive advantage. Research from Dr. Roy Baumeister on ego depletion and self-control shows that people who try to avoid discomfort deplete their willpower faster than people who accept discomfort as normal. Why? Because avoidance requires constant energy expenditure. You're always scanning for exits, always looking for easier alternatives. Acceptance frees that energy for actual work. The Japanese rebuilt from war devastation faster than countries with more resources because they weren't wasting energy complaining or looking for easier alternatives. They accepted the reality: country destroyed, must rebuild, will be uncomfortable, and allocated 100% of energy to rebuilding. Gaman created efficiency through acceptance, not through avoidance. Chapter 4. Your Gaman Training Protocol. Now, you might be thinking, how do I actually develop Gaman? How do I train endurance? Here's your exact protocol for building unshakable persistence through structured difficulty. Phase 1. Baseline Discomfort Mapping, Week 1. Before training endurance, you need to know your current discomfort tolerance. For 1 week, track every time you quit something because it was uncomfortable, not because it was wrong or dangerous, because it was uncomfortable. Examples: stopped working on difficult task and checked my phone. Quit workout early because it was hard. Avoided difficult conversation. Made one uncomfortable ask or declined one request I'd normally accept out of comfort seeking. By week's end, you'll have a map of where discomfort currently controls you. These are your training targets. Phase 2. Voluntary Discomfort Practice, Weeks 2 through 4. Now you deliberately practice enduring controllable discomfort to prove you can endure. Choose 3 daily practices: physical discomfort,
cold shower for 2 minutes, or hold plank position 30 seconds past comfort point, or walk outside in uncomfortable weather. The specific practice doesn't matter. What matters is choosing discomfort deliberately and enduring it without cutting it short. Mental discomfort. Work on your hardest task for 25 uninterrupted minutes with no escape options, no phone, no easier task, no break, just you and the difficult work. The discomfort of sustained focus is what you're training. Social discomfort. Have one difficult conversation, make one uncomfortable ask, or decline one request you'd normally accept out of comfort seeking. Train yourself that social discomfort doesn't require avoidance.
Execute all 3 daily for 3 weeks. The discomfort will decrease over time, which proves adaptation. But even as it decreases, you're building proof. I can endure what I commit to endure. Phase 3. Dignity under pressure, weeks 5 to 8. Now you add the Gaman component, maintaining standards and composure while uncomfortable. It's not enough to endure. You must endure with dignity. During your 3 daily discomfort practices, add this rule. Maintain perfect form or behavior throughout. If doing cold shower, stand completely still and breathe calmly instead of gasping and moving. If doing focused work, maintain upright posture and calm demeanor. If having difficult conversation, speak clearly and maintain eye contact. This trains the distinction between endurance, continuing despite discomfort, and Gaman, continuing with dignity despite discomfort. The second is what creates lasting success because you're proving you don't deteriorate under pressure. Phase 4. Real-world application, week 9 plus. Now apply your trained capacity to actual goals. Choose one meaningful goal that requires sustained, uncomfortable effort. Use your trained Gaman capacity to endure the necessary difficulty. Every day before executing on your goal, remind yourself, this will be uncomfortable. Discomfort is the price. I accept the price and maintain dignity while paying it. Then execute regardless of comfort level. When discomfort appears, recognize it. I'm experiencing discomfort without fleeing it, but I'll continue anyway. Critical warnings. Don't confuse Gaman with ignoring pain signals. If something is genuinely harmful, stop. Gaman is for enduring discomfort that's challenging but not dangerous. Learn the difference between this is hard and this is harmful. Don't practice Gaman in all areas simultaneously. Pick 3 daily practices and 1 major goal. Master those before expanding. Trying to endure everything at once creates overwhelm, not resilience. Don't skip the dignity component. Endurance without composure just creates suffering. Endurance with dignity creates strength. Research from the military on stress inoculation training shows that exposure to controllable stress in training environments increases performance under uncontrollable stress in operational environments by 40 to 60%. You're using the same principle. Train endurance in controlled settings. Apply it in real situations. The principle of inevitable arrival. The Japanese have a saying, the nail that sticks up gets hammered down, but the nail that endures becomes part of the structure. This isn't about conformity, it's about understanding that endurance makes you structural, part of the permanent architecture rather than a temporary fixture. When you develop Gaman, you become someone who doesn't quit. And when you're someone who doesn't quit, your arrival at any goal you commit to becomes inevitable. Not easy, not quick, but inevitable. Because you've eliminated the variable that stops most people, giving up when things get hard. Think about anyone who's achieved lasting success in any field. Were they the most talented? Not always.
The most connected? Rarely. The luckiest? Sometimes, but not usually. What they all had in common, they didn't quit. They endured longer than others endured. Talent gets you started. Endurance gets you finished. Right now, you have goals that you've been pursuing inconsistently because they're uncomfortable. Every time discomfort appears, you pause, reduce effort, or abandon entirely. This pattern will continue until you develop Gaman, or you can train your endurance capacity deliberately and transform every goal from hoping to achieve to inevitable arrival through sustained endurance.
Your endurance begins today. Let me bring this together. You learned about Gaman, the Japanese philosophy of enduring difficulty with dignity that rebuilt a nation from devastation. You learned the 3 pillars: patient perseverance, resilient strength, and acceptance of unchangeables. You learned why comfort-seeking destroys success and why necessary difficulty must be endured, not avoided. And you have your 4-phase protocol. Map your discomfort, practice voluntary discomfort, add dignity under pressure, and apply to real goals. But knowledge about endurance doesn't make you enduring. Only practiced endurance makes you enduring. So here's your decision. Starting tomorrow, will you implement Phase 1, tracking every time discomfort makes you quit? Then will you commit to 3 weeks of daily voluntary discomfort practice? Or will you continue seeking comfort, avoiding necessary difficulty, and wondering why meaningful goals remain out of reach? The first path builds capacity that makes all goals inevitable through sustained effort. The second path guarantees you'll quit when things get hard, which means you'll never achieve anything that requires enduring difficulty. If you're ready to develop Gaman, comment below, "I endure," the one goal you'll apply this to. Make your commitment visible. The Japanese practice Gaman communally because watching others endure increases your own capacity to endure. And here's the final truth. Every goal you've ever abandoned, you abandoned because you chose comfort over endurance at a critical moment. The goal wasn't impossible, you just weren't willing to be uncomfortable long enough to reach it. Gaman eliminates that limitation. Once you can endure indefinitely with dignity, every goal becomes reachable given sufficient time, because time is the only thing required when you've eliminated quitting. Discomfort is the price, endurance is the payment method, success is the inevitable result. I endure. Do you?